Hello, thank you for joining us for today's edition of Ashley Stamatinos TV. I'm with the wonderful Ashley Stamatinos, and today we're going to be talking about a newly created class. Ashley, what event happened in your life that really kind of clinched the idea that you had this mediumship skill?
Well, unlike a lot of mediums that you see out there in the media, I mean, perfect pun. I actually wasn't seeing ghosts when I was little. I didn't grow up as a young kid, you know, having imaginary friends and seeing ghosts all the time. I had an experience when I was about 18 years old. I had just moved to Manhattan, and I moved there just a couple days before 9/11, and I ended up getting really sick. And a lot of it was my sensitivity to all of the pain and drama, suffering and trauma going on in Manhattan. So my body was in a lot of pain, and I was in a really difficult place for a couple years. And when that intensity in my body happened, something really awakened within me, and I was able to start seeing energy. I was able to see auras, bioenergy fields. I was able to start seeing ghosts, spirits. And it was a very interesting experience for me. I remember the first time I saw my full-on apparition was I had come home late at night, and I went into my apartment, and next to my bed was this full silhouette of a woman. And I didn't know it was a woman at first. I thought someone was standing behind me, and it was a shadow on the wall. So I looked away, and I looked back, and I looked away, and I looked back, and it was still there. So clearly it was a spirit, because there's no one behind me, and it wasn't my, you know, shadow on the wall. So I started asking a couple questions of this spirit, and I said, you know, who are you? Do I know you? Is there something I can do for you? What's the purpose of you being here? Do you have a message for me? And, you know, in my classes, I really encourage people to ask questions when they see spirits, and not to just, you know, cower away or dismiss them, because that's only going to make them want to try harder to speak to you. So I got the information that this was my grandmother. And a little bit later, after she kept flickering the lights, and I saw a couple other spirits in my home, and I was really not doing well, so I felt like they were kind of helping me, actually. It was a very comforting feeling to have them around. I know that's not everybody's experience, but for me it was very comforting to have these family members, actually, to see family members around. So I went to a medium in Long Island, and I didn't tell him anything. I gave him cash. He knew my first name. There was no way for him to research anything about me. And he immediately told me, there's a woman here. Her first name is Mary, and she's your mother's mother, and she says that on the way here, you asked her to come with you. And I was like, chills up and down my spine. And I realized that, you know, when he, you know, kept going in the session, he told me about how she was the one in your house, and she, you know, sometimes flickers the lights, and she's in and out, and your dad's father is often with you as well. And, you know, it was really fascinating, because he validated all of the things I had been seeing. So when I wanted to go into my head and dismiss what was going on, this medium validated everything I had seen. So I knew that I had something. I knew that something was brewing. And so I was fascinated at that point, and I started on my journey of learning more and studying mediumship so that I could further my own gifts to be able to communicate more accurately.
So do you feel that that experience kind of ignited or shifted something?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it was absolutely a time, not even just a specific time, but that whole time of awakening. It's never really ended, but it really catapulted me into being on a journey of constantly working to increase my awareness. And it's always been really fun for me, you know, so that's why I keep doing it. If it wasn't fun for me, I wouldn't keep doing it. So talking to spirits has been enjoyable, and has been, you know, an experience for me that I can't get enough of. You know, have just continued with it.
I'm glad you mentioned the idea of enjoyable, because you know, you hear a lot of stories over time where stories get passed down from generation to generation. And when someone has that experience, a lot of times it's common that they automatically feel it's negative. What are your thoughts on that? How does one differentiate?
So absolutely, I think one of the one of the biggest things that bring people into my classes about connecting with spirits is for them to get over their fears. Because they really want to communicate and they know they have a sense of communication already, but they have these huge blockages that are prohibiting them from actually clearly communicating with the spirits of whatever kind. So in my class, I really go over 3 specific tools to remove fears and to allow you to step outside of the fears, remove those barriers so that you can have a clearer connection.
Excellent.
And to help you trust yourself, really, right? Because a lot of people just don't trust themselves, so we work on that as well.
I think it's imagination.
Right, yeah, totally.
I've heard this. I'm very curious to get your thoughts on this. There's a debate I've heard over the time between the difference between a medium and a psychic.
Yes.
Tell me, please, what your thoughts are.
Okay, so this wonderful man who his name is Jack, who I went to quite a few years of mediumship training with him, and we did it once a week for years, and so we got a lot of wonderful training with him. He taught us in a way that I'll never forget, and it worked so perfectly for me. He said that when you're connecting with someone on a psychic level, it's very horizontal. You know, it's like this. When you're connecting with a spirit, when you're connecting on a mediumship level with spirit, you're actually connecting vertically. The information comes this way. When you're connecting psychically, the information comes this way. Does that make sense?
I do, yes.
Yeah, so that's how I would explain it, and that's what worked for me. So every time I, connect with a spirit, I feel like I'm actually truly connecting with the spirit if the information is coming in a vertical way instead of a horizontal way.
So would it be more or less perceiving and receiving? Was that similar?
I think you can be receiving either way, but if you're receiving more in a vertical fashion from above, from the infinite source or from the specific spirit that's speaking to you, that's more of the specific to mediumship communication, because they're absolutely different things, communicating psychically and communicating in a mediumship sense.
I understand.
Yeah.
You mentioned Jack. Has there been any other influential persons, mediums in your life that you either studied with or learned from?
Yeah.
Someone that helped elevate your talent?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually went to, years ago, I went by myself to the Omega Center in Rhinebeck, New York, and I did a little longer than a week intensive with James Van Praagh, and also the 2 English mediums, Tony Stockwell and Mavis Patilla, and I did a really intensive workshop with them for the week, and it was fabulous. It was eye-opening, and I grew more in that week than I had in years prior. It was fascinating, and we just did exercise after exercise after exercise, and in the class that I teach, I actually bring in some of those tools to my class so that we can do exercises like the ones that I learned. So I mean, it's okay to be at any level. These exercises aren't meant to ever be right or wrong. It's about really functioning from working on the muscle to get that muscle stronger with your communication. And I also, I did a workshop with John Holland at one point as well.
Well, you definitely learned with the heavy hitters.
Yes, I wanted to go to the best.
What would this be a one-day course? And what would you outline? Would there be a student practice involved, or what would the day look like?
So throughout the day, we have exercises. We start off in the first part of the day really going through terminology and learning about the different practices, how different people in different areas of the world practice mediumship, because it's very different in America versus in other places like in England, where the spiritualist church is a huge thing, and mediumship is on every single corner, and it's completely normal. It's different here in America, and it's practiced in a different fashion. So we'll talk a little bit about the differences and how it's practiced differently in different places, and what to do when you encounter a spirit, and how to accurately receive information, and how to get down your barriers so that you can actually communicate, and how to know if you're receiving information or if it's in your head. That's a big one that we talk about. And then the second half of the day, we do workshop stuff. We just practice and use the tools that you've learned and work with partners, do partnering exercises, and I'm there with you every step of the way to coach you and support you.
Wow. This is all very fascinating. Very interesting. I already feel better.
Okay.
Experiences. The days of sleeping in the dark or the light on are over.
Yes.
Thank you once again for joining us on Ashley Stamatinos TV. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you like this video? If so, I would be so grateful if you shared this video with all of your friends. You can stay in touch with me by liking me on Facebook and subscribing to my YouTube channel. Would you like to get social with me? You can leave comments on my YouTube videos, Facebook posts, or blog entries and get involved in the conversation. If you would like even more tools and tips that I only get to talk about in email, then I invite you to head over to omorphihealing.com and sign up for email updates. Keep pursuing your dreams and seeking the life you desire. The world is a better place because of that something special only you have. I'll see you next time on Ashley Stamatinos TV.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Hello, welcome to today's edition of Ashley Stamatinos TV with lovely Ashley laughing at me. What did I say? Hi, thank you for joining us for this edition of Ashley. Hi, thank you for joining us for this edition of Ashley Stamatinos TV.
Yeah, that's
Oh, sorry. What were you looking at? Hi, thank you for joining us.
I didn't sit yet. Wait for me to sit. Damn.
Hi, I'm Ashley.
You really just said that.
No, I didn't.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not Ashley Stamatinos.
I am.